A very good morning to all the students of class 12. Today I'm going to take on the lesson Deep Water, written by William Douglas from the reader Flamingo. Well, as this chapter, as the name suggests, deep water, so that means we're going to talk about a water body where the depth had something to do with someone. So this deep water has deeper connotations, which we will come to know at the end of the lesson. But before that, I will give you a synopsis of the lesson. Now, this lesson, Deep Water by William Douglas, it is an autobiographical account of a childhood incident or misadventure, as we can say, that took place when the author, William Douglas, was a small child, and that left an indelible impression on his mind. Indelible impression, everlasting impression on his mind. The fear that was caused at that time, he could not erase it from his mind, and that continued to be with him even when he grew up. But of course, when he grew up as an adult, he tried to overcome that fear. He tried to conquer that fear, and with great persistence and what we can say incessant hard work, he did manage to overcome it, but it took a lot of time. So as we say, the first time when he encountered this misadventure was when he had gone to the California beach with his father. A huge wave came and knocked him down, and the water went above him. Now, this was something very light for the fathers. I mean, he did not take it so seriously, but it had a great impact on the little boy, that is William's, mind. Later on, then he decided, when he grew up a little bit, he decided to learn swimming. So he goes to the YMCA pool, Young Men's Christian Association, YMCA, just as we have YWCA also, Young Women's Christian Association. So he goes to the pool there and he decides to learn swimming. Now, in order to learn that, he gears himself up and he manages to collect all the accessories needed. For example, a pair of water wings for his safety. And he was very thin, so he had skinny legs. But then in order to learn swimming, he did not bother about those skinny legs, or that he curbs his complex and he indulges and he overcomes his pride, and then he is all set to learn how to swim. Now, he went with the great excitement and, a lot of anxiety, of course, to learn how to swim. But unfortunately, second time another misadventure takes place. He goes to this pool, and when he sees that there's nobody around, there are no people around, so he does not want to dive into the pool all alone when there's nobody around. Safety measures, or maybe a little bit of fear and anxiety in his mind, curbed him. So he waited for someone to come to the pool to swim. As he was sitting by the edge of the pool, a hurly-burly boy comes, a boy of about 18 years, and he had a good physique, very masculine. He had hairy chest and bulging muscles, and he had a very impressive physique. So this boy, maybe his physique and when he must have seen Douglas as a little skinny boy, I mean, he just thought of, having fun maybe, or it was just that we cannot say, or maybe it was an act of bullying, we can say, or just in sheer fun. So he picked up Douglas and he threw him into the swimming pool. Now, this swimming pool, why Douglas had chosen this? Because it was pretty safe over there, because on the shallow side it was only 2 feet deep, and on the deeper side it was 9 feet deep. And as his mother had warned him never to go anywhere close to the Yakima River, because that was a treacherous river. Treacherous in the sense that it had claimed many lives. Many people had drowned in that river. So the mother had advised him always to keep away from that river. So here what happened, when the boy picks him up and just throws him into the pool. Now Douglas is he's hurled into the deeper side of the pool, and immediately he does not know what to do. But at the same time, He was frightened, but he remained alert. He remained alert. And when he began to go down to the bottom of the pool, he thought that when my toes or when my feet touch the base of the pool, I will give a heave upwards and I will manage to come to the surface of the water, and then I will paddle, and then I will come to the side of the pool and come out. But unfortunately, nothing like that happened. It seemed to be a never-ending fall for Douglas. The 9 feet deep seemed to be 90 feet deep for Douglas when he experienced this terrible shove into the pool. Now, there was acute uneasiness. He was very, very uneasy. There was pain in his chest and his lungs seemed to be bursting. So, but despite that, second time, once again, he tries to heave himself up. He summons all his courage and then he wants to heave himself up and come to the surface. But unfortunately, nothing happened and he only started coming up very slowly. He thought he would jump back with the same force as he would fall, but that nothing like that happened. And then he makes a desperate effort for survival. He thinks that he's trying to clutch onto a rope, but unfortunately there's no rope. Excuse me. There's only water that his fingers can touch or feel. And he begins to feel suffocated. And though his eyes and nose are above the surface of the water, but his mouth is still below the water. So he swallows a lot of water, which makes him very, very uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. And then he's sucked down to the bottom of the pool once again. And he makes another struggle, but it's a futile struggle, futile without any result. Useless struggle. And then he begins to feel dizzy and his lungs begin to ache and his head begins to throb because now fear had gripped him completely. And there was a lot of physical discomfort. But his mind is still retaining the plan to avoid drowning. So we can see he was very alert with the first time that he goes down to the pool, and also when he's trying to come up, but again he's going down. So he keeps that plan in mind that he should not drown and he would avoid drowning. But unfortunately, it keeps happening. His head is thumping, throbbing, his lungs are paining, there's a lot of uneasiness, there's a lot of discomfort to him. And then his mind slowly begins to cloud with fear. So far, he'd kept up that courage. He'd mustered enough courage that no, I will save myself. But unfortunately, when it happened for the third time, so he makes a desperate effort thrice. But when it happens for the third time and he cannot come up to the surface of the water and manage to come out of it, then he gives up. Then he gives up all efforts because now his mind is gripped with fear also. So he gives up all efforts. And he just imagines, and he surrenders to the rescuing arms, and as if he's in the arms of the mother and being, very peaceful. So all the fear, all the panic, all the anxiety, everything disappears after the third attempt because then he gives up and slowly he passes into oblivion. Passes into oblivion means he becomes unconscious. He's not aware of where he is or what is happening to him. Then after that, when he regains consciousness, that is after quite some time, when he's rescued from the pool, and when he opens his eyes, he finds himself out of the pool and he is vomiting. He's throwing up, he's vomiting because so much of water has gone inside his body. And when the big bully is summoned, he just makes a lame excuse that, I did not do it intentionally. I was only fooling, or maybe saying that I was just playing a prank. But that was it was actually a lame excuse because this kind of a prank, which can take somebody's life, is really very dangerous. And because Douglas had a very, very narrow escape, a close brush with death. He had come out of the jaws of death, as we can say. Now, after this, we see this incident. So, this was the second incident that had happened with him, and he was really shaken up. And what were the after effects of this unpleasant experience is that, when he wanted to go back home hours later, he found that he was trembling, he was shaking. His knees were very wobbly, very shaky. He did not feel any kind of strength in his legs. He was feeling very weak, very drained. And that night, he could not even eat properly. And the fear haunted him for days together. Days together, he kept imagining about that incident, and it brought a lot of pain to him. And as a result, what we can say, he developed a phobia or fear for water, which we call hydrophobia. Fear of water is hydrophobia. And he decides that he's never going to go anywhere near a water body, never visit the pool, and he would keep away from water, all water bodies. Now, this Douglas, as he grew up, he entered adulthood, and there were so many water sports that he wanted to enjoy, like, for example, fishing, and then canoeing, and boating, and of course swimming also, which he had made a desperate effort to learn. So all these activities were ruined for him because he could not stand the sight of water because of the fear of water. But he wanted to indulge in all these activities. So as a result, what happened? He became determined. He made up his mind. He was very resolute. He made up his mind. He was very determined. His willpower was very strong, that I am going to overcome this fear of water. I'm going to conquer this fear, and I'm going to learn how to swim and how to dive into the water, and as a result enjoy all these activities which he wanted to do as a part of his recreation: boating, fishing, canoeing. So the first thing that he does is he engages an instructor. He knew that he won't be able to do it alone because he had to build up his courage, he had to build up his stamina. So he needed some support, some kind of support. So he engages an instructor. Now this instructor was a very good man, and he knew how, otherwise they just come to the point straight away. They're not interested and they just do their job for the sake of it. But this instructor was a very, very good human being, was a very good man. He understood what Douglas was going through. So step by step, he took everything with him. He did not rush through it. He took everything step by step and taught him various activities slowly and made him practice those, and then he would go on to the next one, then go on to the next one. So slowly, step by step, he built a swimmer, that is Douglas. He trained him. So how did he begin? The instructor, they tied a rope around him. There was a rope was attached to the belt. First, William had a belt around him. Then there was a rope attached to the belt. And then that rope went through a pulley so that there was enough support and there was something to fall back on to fasten Douglas and stop him from drowning. So that was the first thing. So the rope went through the pulley that ran on an overhead cable. He was supported by the cable, and then he would swim to and fro so that he was well protected. And that simple thing he practiced for weeks together with the help of a rope, with the help of a belt, with the help of a cable. Then he started getting over his fear. Then relentless practice. Relentless means he just did not give up. He went on and on and on. And he practiced for months together. And it was his effort and the effort of the instructor that actually made him muster enough courage to overcome this fear of water. So step by step. Now the first step, as I told you, first was with a belt and a pulley. Then we say he learns to exhale and inhale under water while swimming. So that was another exercise. Second one, for weeks he was just made to kick his legs. They didn't rush through the training part. Step by step, slowly they went along. So first is just swimming to and fro with the help of a belt and a rope and a cable. Then it was learning to exhale and inhale while swimming. Then it was weeks together just kicking with the legs to build up stamina, maybe. And because initially the legs were very stiff, that fear grips you and your body becomes very stiff. So, but then gradually they relaxed and he could command the legs, whatever he wanted, the movement, he could command them. Then after that, after all these exercises and step-by-step building, the instructor gave him a clean chit that yes, now you are fit to swim on your own, you have learnt the art. Then Douglas first started by swimming the length of the pool only, and because that was the safest thing for him to get experience from there. And then the instructor was relieved. After that also, Douglas continued with his hard work. He continued with his efforts. He did not give up because there were more milestones to be achieved. So what did Douglas do? So far, he was only swimming in a limited area in a pool. And he managed to shed off his fear. So after that, he went to a bigger water body, and that was to Lake Wentworth. And he was successfully able to crawl, then breaststroke. These are the various swimming styles that we have. Side stroke and backstroke. Okay, so all these. In the Lake Wentworth, he was able to successfully crawl, breaststroke and side stroke and backstroke. He was able to do it in the lake where the water was much, much deeper. Then he was not satisfied. Then after Lake Wentworth, then he goes to build up more confidence, he goes to Warm Lake. Here also he dived and he swam across the lake, right from to and fro, from the shore to the middle and from the middle to the shore, or swimming across, So he experimented successfully. And he did not say that now I've mastered it all. So no, he did not want to give up midway or, come across any kind of lapse later on. So he tried and tried and persevered and persevered. He did not give up. Okay. And finally, we can say when he swam across the lake and he did all that, and that also all alone without anybody being near him. So we can finally say that he conquered the fear of water or hydrophobia. Now, as we've come to see how from the misadventure and twice, once it was just a small misadventure, second time it was more serious, but the determination and the willpower and the resolute mind of the writer, that is Douglas, made him resolute to overcome this fear, because he did not want to miss out on all those activities which he loved, canoeing, boating, fishing, swimming, and he wanted to indulge. But if the fear of water remained, he would never be able to achieve those. So as a result, he was determined, and where there's a will, there's a way. So the will finally showed him the way. Now over here, when we see Douglas going down and the fear of drowning. Now drowning means the fear of dying. So in this lesson, we also see that how we are scared of death, scared of dying, and that fear. Now over here we see when Douglas was going down to the bottom of the pool, the fear gripped him after the third time, when fear gripped him, and he became unconscious. So when he was unconscious, he became oblivion of his surroundings. He was not aware. So in that state of unconsciousness, we can say that he was almost dead. So there is no fear in death. What do we actually fear? We have the fear of fearing death. So the fear is more dangerous than death itself. And this is the message that the writer wants to convey through his autobiography, that it's not death, but the fear of death that instills terror and anxiety in our minds. And the other theme, as we can say, is any childhood memories that we've had, or nightmares that we have, or bad memories, unpleasant memories we've had, shocking memories we've had. So all these memories, any incidents, they have a very lasting impression on our minds. We cannot erase them. And even when you become an adult, sometimes those fears continue to haunt us, continue to nag us. So basically, one is not able to wriggle out of these incidents, of the tweezer grip of fear that we have, the tweezer grip of fear, which these childhood incidents have, taken its toll, and they take away all our confidence. They rob us of this confidence, these childhood memories. So that is the theme. Just as Douglas was gripped by this fear of water right from his childhood, and it had a great impact on his mind even when he became an adult. But it was his willpower that he managed to come out of it. And how can we come out of it? It's not just that it just happens. Strong willpower, and you have to have deliberate. You have to become conscious of the fact that you have to make a deliberate effort to come out of it, because everything comes from within. That fear is also within. So once you decide that, yes, I'm going to overcome this fear, and you have that strong willpower and determination to come out of it, definitely you will be able to come out of it after much efforts. Otherwise, they will remain a lifelong complex. Okay. Then we come on to the title. It's appropriately titled Deep Water because the author is reliving his childhood fear of water, where he'd experienced terrible incidents twice. Once he'd been swept away by a wave on the California beach when his father was there with him, and second time when the bully threw him into the water. And all this aggravated his fear, and almost made him a nervous wreck, and it would haunt him always. But then gradually it was his own willpower, it was his own perseverance. Perseverance means to carry on, to continue, not to give up in between. Any task that you take on hands, to complete it and not give up. So the perseverance and the incessant effort of Douglas made him overcome this fear. So the title is absolutely appropriate. Okay. Well, I'd like to do a few question and answers with you. Why was Douglas determined to get over this fear of water? So, the misadventure of the near drowning experience had left an indelible mark on Douglas's mind, and the phobia of water hampered him from enjoying different water sports like fishing and canoeing and swimming and boating, and he wanted to enjoy them. He wanted to get over that fear. That is why he was determined to conquer this fear of water at any cost. Okay. Second question. What was the misadventure at YMCA pool? How did the misadventure at YMCA pool affect Douglas? Now, this affected him greatly, as I told you, that when he woke up, when he became conscious, he found himself lying on the ground and he was busy vomiting. After that, there was great fear in his mind, and it nagged him for a long time. It haunted him for a long time. He felt very weak, very drained. His legs were very shaky. His knees were very wobbly, and he did not feel like eating. For days together, he was literally in a state of shock and in a lot of pain and discomfort. Okay. Why did mother warn Douglas against River Yakima? Now, as I told you in the beginning, River Yakima was a very treacherous river. It was very deep and it had very deceptive to look at. And it appeared to be a harmless river, but it was not, because it had taken many lives. It had claimed several lives. And all mothers did not want their children to go anywhere near this river. So she warned him. Okay. In what way was the YMCA pool safe for those who wish to learn swimming? Now, this YMCA pool was built in such a way, keeping in mind that learners would also come there, because on the shallow side. It was about 2 to 3 feet deep at the shallow end and about 9 feet deep at the other end. And the slope was a gradual one. The slope was very, very gradual so that nobody would all of a sudden go and plunge or go towards the deeper side. Thus, the learners could learn swimming without exposing themselves to any kind of threat or risk or danger. And then the learners also went with their water wings and things like that, so it was safe. What complex did Douglas have when he had to get into the pool? What did he do about it? Now, as I told you, Douglas was a very skinny child, very, very thin, very skinny. And he had underdeveloped muscles. You know, he didn't have a well-toned body like the 18-year-old bully who later on comes into the picture. So he was really ashamed to expose himself and his skinny legs, lean legs, while walking towards the pool. But since he wanted to learn swimming, he was very, very adamant about learning that. And so he let go of the complex and he let go of all his pride and he walked across to swim to the pool. Okay. Next question. What fear did Douglas develop in his childhood? This is about the California beach where he had gone with his father, how a huge wave comes and knocks him down and the wave goes over him. And at that time, he was buried under the wave. This overpowering force of water that was there, it developed a fear in him and an aversion for water. Okay. Why did Douglas's father take the incident at California Beach lightly when the child was buried in water? Because the father was a grown-up man. For him, it was not such a serious incident, but it had frightened Douglas out of his wits. But for the father, he just laughed it, and because he did not see any grave harm being done to the child, and he found it rather amusing, and he took it very lightly. Okay. Okay. Describe the big bully who plunged Douglas into the pool. Why do you think he threw Douglas into the pool? Because in the book it's given a big bruiser of a boy, a big bully, you know, a big bruiser of a boy. He tossed. The very action, the very word tossed means just to throw like that. So tossed little Douglas into the pool, and this 18-year-old boy was, he had a well-built physique, and he had rippling muscles, and probably he was very proud of his impressive physique. And that is why, to make fun of Douglas's underdeveloped muscles or just to play a prank on him, this inconsiderate boy, he just foolishly threw him into the pool. Okay, what idea do you form about Douglas as a young boy from the misadventure? Not the first one, the misadventure at the pool. I told you in between that despite all the fear, despite all the panic, there was one thing that was very strong about him at that time, that his mind was very alert. So the same answer comes here. Douglas was a thinly built boy and he was very adventurous by nature, so he wanted to learn swimming. And he got over all complexes, and he had a commendable presence of mind. Without being intimidated, without being scared, intimidated, I-N-T-I-M-I-D-A-T-E-D, intimidated. So, means getting scared. He tried to manage as well as he could. Thrice he tried to come up to the surface of the water. He did not give up easily in the first go only, otherwise he could have just slipped and gone down and been under the water, but no. His mind was very alert, and he kept telling his mind time and again that I am not going to drown. So his alertness, his mind was very alert. Okay. How did the narrator fight this terror while struggling to come out of water? When he was forcibly pushed into water, Douglas retained his wits. Again, presence of mind, that's a repeat. He focused his mind not on what had happened. He focused his mind on the solution rather than the problem. And this is something very useful and something which we all should learn from. Otherwise, we keep harping about the problem and nobody talks about the solution. So his alertness of mind made him concentrate more on the solution rather than the problem. And he tried to work out a strategy that when my feet touch the base, I'm going to heave myself up and push myself up and come up to the surface of the water. And he concentrated on it. Next question. Describe Douglas's downward journey to the bottom of the pool for the second time. Douglas' downward journey for the second time, it was a nightmarish experience, unpleasant experience, frightening. Why? Because his legs almost felt as if they were paralyzed. His lungs were aching and his head was throbbing. You know, there was a throb in the head and he was feeling very, very suffocated. So, the pull of water actually terrorized him very badly, but he remembered to jump up with all his might and come up to the surface of the water. Okay, next question. Why did Douglas decide to engage an instructor? In what way did this decision help him? The terror that he had experienced at the YMCA, it was so intense. He just couldn't get over it. It was so intense that Douglas could not get over it without professional help. So he needed somebody who had experience and who could guide him and could actually instill that confidence in him and help him to come out of it, to conquer his phobia of water completely. I've given you the instructor's way. Okay, first was belt, then the rope and the pulley, then to exhale and inhale while swimming, then kicking of the legs, and then the various other activities. Okay. And how did Douglas still continue with this practice even after the instructor had finished? Because the pool for Douglas was not enough. He wanted to go out into a bigger water body, a lake which was deeper and, more challenging. And his real test would be if he could swim all alone in those lakes. So first he goes to Lake Wentworth and then the other one. And he manages to swim to and fro successfully. Okay. What larger meaning did the experience have for Douglas? So for Douglas it was, the experience taught Douglas that death itself is not terrifying. It is the fear of death that actually frightens us, that is torturous. Because when he became unconscious, he just imagined himself to be peace, calmful, no pain, everything just left him. And he was there, calm and composed, and he could not experience any pain. So death, in a way, when death comes, we are relieved of all these aches and pains and various things that we're going through, all these worldly pursuits that trouble us or things like that. So when death comes, everybody is free from all those clutches, or the grip of the worldly measures and pursuits that we all are indulging in. And it is only the fear of death that terrifies us. Death is not to be feared. Because otherwise, if we see when we are scared, this reminds me of Shakespeare that, cowards die many deaths in their lifetime, because each time something happens and they're scared, so that's equivalent to death. So it is not death that is to be feared, it is the fear of death that we fear. Okay. Okay. As I told you, that part is very important, Douglas's presence of mind, and because it's a very strong trait of his character which helped him to survive. His presence of mind, and he tried to manage the crisis with a cool mind, and his struggle to defy the force of water till he was rescued speaks of his determination and his positivity. Okay. Well, I think in this chapter, if we come across, when we talk about this boy, this bully, who tossed Douglas into the water. Maybe it was just, I mean, like we just spoken about it, that maybe he was so proud of his physique and all, and he was trying to make fun of his little lean body. So it could be that he was trying to make morbid fun and, show that he was more powerful. And bullies are often, they're like those territorial, territorial, like those animals who don't allow anybody to come into their vicinity. And this aspect of bullying can be very important for your writing skills also. That how bullies, I mean, they just do it for the sake of fun, or maybe just to be mean, or, just to lash out at somebody or to get even with somebody. But then bullying can be very, very dangerous because it can take somebody's life. And this bullying is an offense today and a punishable offense. So for the writing skills, I mean, you can look into this aspect of bullying, and these bullies have to be made to realize the importance of values like tolerance, compassion, empathy, generosity, and interpersonal relationships have to be developed and built, so that they can realize that we're all the same. I mean, there is no point in trying to make others feel small or feel that you are above them or superior. No, it is not like that. So this is a very important aspect for your writing skills that you can talk about, the bullying. Well, I think I have tried to do whatever I felt that I could do with you. And this chapter, I mean, a request had come to do Deep Waters. So I would, that's why I took it on before the others. So I hope I've been able to reach out to you, and you'll be able to understand the text, and the question and answers would complement it. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you.